Hello everyone, thank you for tuning into my channel. Today I'm coming to you with a question that was asked by BK Sister 718 again, as well as one of my loves on Facebook called So Bien. So BK Sister wanted to know a little bit more about the how did I get pregnant and all that. And So Bien wanted to know how long did it take for me and hubby to get pregnant the second time. Right now I am 22 weeks pregnant. So with my first pregnancy, I told you in a previous video that I had a miscarriage. And so with my second pregnancy, we started in January of 2011 and we found out we were pregnant in April. So one thing that I was having an issue with the first several months of trying to get pregnant, which was January and February. Yes, the first 2 months was I really didn't know my cycle. So I found myself having sex with my husband on around the 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th day of my cycle, which according to most books you read, as well as like my little app on my phone, that was my ovulation days based on my 28-day cycle. But I was not ovulating on those days, and I did not find this out until I got an ovulation kit. So I got an ovulation kit that was a 7-day kit, and I had used it for 7 days. And during the 7 days, I didn't ovulate at all. I believe the 7th day was about day 17 or 18 of my cycle. So I was thinking to myself, could it be possible that I'm not ovulating? Like, that just doesn't make sense. And then I thought, well, maybe I ovulated either before I started using the ovulation test or after. So I'm going to spend a little bit more money and I'm going to get a 30-day one. And the 30-day kits are actually really expensive. I got a first response set for the 7-day and the 30-day, and I think for the 30-day it's between like $30 to $50. It's not cheap. But if you're looking to get pregnant and finding your ovulation date is something that is really, really crucial to you, and you don't just want to, like, you know, we'll just get pregnant when we get pregnant, then I think it's worth the investment. Because when I took the 30-day test, I passed the 18th day with a negative result, the 19th day negative result, and then boom, on day 20 I had a positive result. I was flabbergasted because day 20 is literally 8 days prior to the date I'm supposed to get my period. So how could it be that I'm ovulating so late in my cycle? It just made absolutely no sense. But I was. So day 20, day 21, and day 22 were the 3 days that I ovulated, and I would never have thought to start making the baby on those days. Never would have thought that, because it was just so late in comparison to when I was told from all the books, and everything says the 14th, 15th, 16th day, and sometimes, you know, it could be a little bit after, but I've never read anywhere that you would ovulate on day 20, day 21, and day 22. And if you are ovulating that late, I guess it would only make sense that your menstrual cycles were a little bit longer than 28 days. But no, for me, I ovulated late. So my husband and I we worked on making the baby those days, and we got pregnant. So when it was time to get pregnant with my second baby that I'm pregnant with now, I knew that I ovulated late. I actually invested in another ovulation test, because sometimes after you have a baby, things in your body are extremely different. Like after my son, my cycle was not 28 days anymore. It was now 32, 33. So I wanted to get the ovulation kit just to be sure. So I got another one, and we used it on the appropriate time, and boom, we were pregnant like that. I also had lost a significant amount of weight. I lost all my baby weight, and I was even thinner than I was prior to having my son this time around. So that helps. Being a healthy weight is great. Also, if you do get the ovulation kit, it's best for you not to have sex the entire time of that month. So if your menstrual cycle, just for sake of discussion, started on the 1st of the month, that would be day 1 of your cycle. Don't have any sex from that day until you get that positive test on the ovulation kit. You want your partner's sperm count to be high. You need it to be super, super high. So even if you have sex once a week from that day forward until you get the positive ovulation test, you still do risk his sperm count being low, and it might not be low to the point where you're not going to be able to make a baby, but I just really suggest just don't have sex the entire month. So for us, you know, that would have been like 21 days, literally 21 days, no sex. The 20th day when I got a positive result, we had sex. The 21st day, we didn't have any sex because you need to rest in between so that his sperm count can rebuild itself. And then because I ovulated for 3 days, we ended up having sex again on the 3rd day of ovulation, which was day 22. So we were able to do it that way, and we were fine. Now, of course, if you have some type of issues, or you have some type of genetic problem, or you have some type of disorder or complications with your body that your doctor has talked to you about, most likely what I'm telling you right now probably won't be helpful, but you could give it a try. But if you have a normal cycle, you've never been ever told you have any type of disease or illness or anything that would cause you to not be successful at having a baby, or this is your first time trying and you've just been going and going, try that. I promise you, spend the $50. It's worth it if you get a baby in the end. So whatever day that is that you get that positive result, have sex right away. Have sex. Possible. Some people may ovulate a little bit less than me. I was 3 days with the first baby, who's right here. Say hi. Say hi. And I was also ovulating for 3 days with the present baby that's in the belly now. For those of you who might say, well, you know, following the ovulation test and doing this is so structured and so organized, you take the fun out of having the baby and you're stressing yourself out, and if you're stressed out, you won't be able to make the baby. And if you're stressed out and it's too much on your brain, it is true, it can affect your body's functions, but what I want you to do when you get this ovulation test is not stress out. I want you to look at it as a positive thing. This is your only opportunity to get actual factual results as to whether this is the perfect day for you to have sex or not. Because you can have sex as often as you want with you and your partner, and you can have lots and lots of fun. But if your intention is, I want to be pregnant by next month or the month after, and I want to make sure that I'm actually having fun, I want to make sure I'm having fun on the right days, this is what the ovulation kit is going to do. So there's no nerves, because the ovulation kit will tell you when you're ovulating. So you don't have to wake up every morning like, am I ovulating today? Am I ovulating today? Don't do that. You know you're going to ovulate. You just don't know which day it will be. Most likely it will be after the 14th day, up until the next day of your next period, which for me was up to day 22. So maybe for you it'll be day 23. So don't wake up every morning like, it's today the day. You don't have to do that, because you'll get a positive result when it's the right time. So there's no stress. And in fact, this should keep you calmer, because you know what, I wake up in the morning, I'm going to take this test, and today will either be the day that we need to make this baby happen, or we have another day or however many more days to wait. And just be really calm and just keep yourself extremely comfortable with the fact that the test is going to tell you when is the right time. So there's no need to stress out and be aggravated and whatever. The hardest part, depending on your libido and your sex drive, will be not having sex until you finally do get the positive test. I think that might be the hardest part. For my husband and I, that was actually harder for me than it was for him. I wanted to have sex earlier than he wanted to, so he was actually better at telling me, no babe, we gotta wait until the positive date, than I was. So one of you have to be the stronger person. So if you're not the strong person in terms of like calming your libido and your sex drive, tell your partner, please do not allow for me to entice you and persuade you. And if your partner is the one who is usually like, I want to have sex right now, then you got to just remind him. You have to be stronger and say, we need your sperm count to be as high as possible, and if it's important to you that we get pregnant next month, then please just wait. Now, one other thing that is super crazy about having a late ovulation date is you literally find out you're pregnant like 2 weeks later. I kid you not, because your surge, your hormone surge, begins immediately, and day 1 of your pregnancy is actually day 1 of your period. So when you take your ovulation test and you get a positive, for me it was day 20, 21, 22, on day 28 is when I'm supposed to get my period, right? Right. If I have sex on day 20, day 21, and day 22, 6 days later, I'm supposed to get a period. If I don't get a period 6 days later, you're most likely pregnant. Most likely pregnant. And that's what happened to me. No period 6 days later, 7 days later, 8 days later. It's really awesome using an ovulation kit. Get the ovulation kit, and I believe they give you a coupon for the pregnancy test inside of it. Don't be too anxious to check your pregnancy test, because like I said, if you have a late ovulation, it's not going to tell you anything. There's just not enough hormone in your body for the test to pick it up. So just wait until you get your missed period. I checked on the day of my missed period. I didn't see anything. I had bought a kit with 3 tests. I checked the day after my missed period. I still didn't see anything. I skipped 2 days because I was like, you know what? If I waste this 3rd test, it's going to be too expensive to buy another one. So I waited 2 days later. So on the 4th day after my missed period, I checked again, and the line was so faint, I could hardly see it. But faint is enough of a line to tell you if you're pregnant. And we knew we were pregnant. So yes, that was my advice. Know your cycle, but if you have normal regular periods and everything's good and there's no reason why you should believe you can't get pregnant, and you've been trying for a couple months, it could very likely be that you just are not having sex on the right days, which is the case for us. And let me know what other videos you want to see. Be very specific and leave them in the comment section. Subscribe to this channel, and as always, I love you for watching. Bye. Say bye-bye. Say bye-bye. Alright, it's been 2 hours, and for the past hour, my soup has been on a very low